Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the incredible treasures we uncover. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss a single story like this. Today, we are stepping back in time to 1937, a year that, for many, might seem like just another moment in history, but for coin collectors and history buffs alike, it was a year that produced a coin that has captured imaginations and, more importantly, wallets around the world. I'm talking about the South African half cent from 1937. Now, I know what you're thinking. Half a cent? How valuable could that really be? And believe me, I get it. To most people, a half cent might sound trivial. It's not even a full penny. But coins, especially ones that have survived the trials of time, tell a story. They're not just metal, they're history. And some of them carry a legacy that can make even the most seasoned collectors stop and take notice. The South African half cent is one of those coins. Minted in the pre-World War II era, this tiny coin has seen more change than most of us could imagine. It witnessed a country in transition, a time when South Africa was establishing its identity in the world, long before it became the nation we know today. Holding it in your hand, you're literally touching a piece of history, crafted in a time when coins were not just currency, but a statement of national pride. What makes this coin fascinating isn't just its age or rarity, it's the story behind it. In 1937, South Africa was under the reign of King George VI. The coins from this era were meticulously designed, featuring intricate details that modern coins rarely achieve. The half cent, though small, carries the image of the king, a symbol of the era, and a testament to the craftsmanship of the time. Every line, every engraving was done by hand with precision, and that attention to detail has made this coin a treasure for collectors. Now, let's talk about scarcity, because that's where the magic really begins. Unlike coins that were minted in the millions, the 1937 South African half center had a relatively limited run. Over the decades, many of these coins were lost, melted down, or simply disappeared into the pockets and drawers of everyday citizens. That makes the surviving coins incredibly rare. Rarity in the coin world isn't just about numbers, it's about survival. And this coin has survived. Collectors often describe the thrill of discovering a coin like this as almost spiritual. It's a mix of excitement, respect, and a little bit of greed. Let's be honest. When you come across a piece that's been hidden from the world for decades, there's a rush that's hard to describe. And when it's a coin like the 1937 half cent, that rush comes with the knowledge that you're holding something that could be more valuable than most people imagine. But it's not just about rarity or history. Coins like this one are also a reflection of our world. They show us how economies functioned, how governments thought about currency, and even how design trends have changed over the years. The South African half cent, for instance, is a reminder of a simpler time, an era when the weight of a coin carried meaning beyond its face value. And let's be honest, there's something undeniably satisfying about holding something tangible in your hand that others would pay a fortune to own. In today's digital world, where everything is virtual, a coin like this is a direct connection to the past, a piece of metal that has outlived countless trends, technologies, and even generations. There's power in that, and that's exactly why collectors chase after these coins with such passion. Now, here's where things get really interesting. You might assume that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a half cent couldn't be worth much, but that assumption could not be further from the truth. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the 1937 South African half center is one of the most stunning examples of how history, rarity, and condition can converge to create something extraordinary. Collectors are not just buying a coin, they're buying a story. They're buying a tangible piece of a time and place that no longer exists. And when you consider that so few of these coins survived, it's not just a story, it's a piece of history that has become exceedingly rare, something that could very well sit in the hands of only a handful of people in the world. So, what does all this mean in terms of value? How does a coin that once circulated for mere fractions of a penny suddenly transform into something staggering? The answer lies in the combination of history, rarity, condition, and demand. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for coins that check all these boxes. And this tiny South African half cent does just that. Experts have long debated the exact numbers, but one thing is undeniable. A coin like this, in pristine condition, can command jaw-dropping prices. I'm talking about figures that could make even seasoned investors do a double take. This is not just about money, it's about prestige, about owning a piece of history that few people will ever have the chance to hold. And here's the kicker. The most remarkable example of the 1937 South African half center, one that has been preserved impeccably, was recently appraised at a value so high it seems almost unbelievable. After decades of surviving wars, economic upheavals, and the slow march of time, this little coin has a price tag that could rival some of the world's most famous collectibles. For many collectors, this is the ultimate dream. A coin that once seemed ordinary now stands as a symbol of how history, patience, and careful preservation can create staggering wealth. And the real magic? That wealth comes not from flashy designs or gold and silver content, but from something far rarer: time, survival, and historical significance. So, gentlemen, if you've been intrigued by coins before, this is a reminder that the past often holds the greatest treasures. And if you've ever brushed past a small, seemingly insignificant coin in a drawer or a dusty old box, think twice. You never know when you might be holding the next piece of history that could change everything. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the ultimate valuation of the 1937 South African half center. Are you ready? The most exceptional, pristine, and historically significant example of this coin has been valued at an astonishing $223 million. Yes, you heard that right. $223 million. A coin that once barely had any monetary weight now carries a value that is beyond imagination. It's not just money, it's a testament to history, rarity, and the extraordinary journey of something so small yet so powerful. And that, gentlemen, is why coins are not just collectibles. They are time machines, investments, and pieces of art rolled into one. So next time you find yourself brushing off an old coin or marveling at a small piece of history, remember the 1937 South African half center. It's a reminder that even the tiniest things can carry unimaginable value, and that history, patience, and an eye for detail can turn something ordinary into the extraordinary. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. Because we'll keep bringing you stories like this, stories that connect you to history, thrill your imagination, and maybe even change the way you see the world around you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep collecting, and always remember, the smallest things can sometimes hold the biggest surprises.
Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on rare finds and hidden treasures that could change your collection, or even your life. Trust me, you're going to want to see this one through to the end. Imagine holding a piece of history right in the palm of your hand. Something so small yet so powerful, it carries a story that stretches back nearly a century. Today, I'm talking about a coin that many people walk past, not realizing the treasure they might be holding, or what it could be worth decades later. We are looking at the South African half penny from 1938. Now, this isn't just any coin. Think about it. In 1938, the world was on the edge of massive change. The air was thick with tension, whispers of conflict were growing louder, and everyday life was still grounded in the simple rhythms of the time: buying groceries, taking the tram, walking home at sunset. A half penny from that era might seem trivial at first glance, but it is, in reality, a window into that world. Every scratch, every patina tells a story of decades gone by. If you grew up in the 50s or 60s, you remember when coins had weight and presence. They weren't just plastic symbols of value. They were objects of craftsmanship, minted with care and precision. This South African half penny was made from bronze, giving it a durability that stood the test of time. And it wasn't mass-produced like today's coins. Each batch carried tiny variations, details that collectors obsess over and pay a premium for. Let's talk design for a moment, because this is where the story really comes alive. On one side, you have the portrait of King George VI, the young monarch navigating a world on the brink of war. The engraver captured his likeness with remarkable realism. Every curve of the face, every line in the crown, is frozen in time. On the flip side, there's the iconic South African coat of arms from the pre-Union era, a symbol of a nation proud of its heritage, striving for identity amidst global upheaval. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's just a coin. How much can it really be worth? That's where it gets interesting. You see, rarity and condition are everything in the coin world. Most coins from 1938 were circulated, picked up and spent countless times, leaving them worn and scratched. But a coin that has survived in excellent condition, with its details crisp and its surfaces clean, becomes something collectors will fight over. It becomes a tangible link to history, and history, as we know, can carry a premium. For those of you who love a little thrill, think of this. The halfpenny isn't just sitting in a jar somewhere. Many were lost, melted down, or simply discarded over the decades. That scarcity drives value. And because coins like this were minted before the era of modern collecting, their numbers are limited. What's left today are the survivors, the rare few that make collectors' hearts race. You might also find it fascinating that coins like this often spark conversations and connections. Imagine pulling a 1938 half-penny out of your pocket and handing it to a friend or grandchild. Suddenly, history isn't a textbook or a grainy photograph. It's real. It's tangible. You can feel the weight of the past, the craftsmanship, the story of a world that has changed in unimaginable ways. And that, my friends, is priceless to many collectors. For collectors in our age group, there's also a subtle joy in nostalgia. Handling coins from your childhood, or coins that circulated when your parents or grandparents were your age, creates a bridge across time. You're not just collecting metal. You're preserving memories, preserving moments, and sometimes, you're even making a smart financial move. Because let's be honest, not every coin appreciates like this, but when it does, it can be staggering. Let's get a little technical, but don't worry, I'll keep it simple. When assessing a coin like this, collectors look at several key things: the detail in the portrait, the condition of the edges, the color of the bronze, and any unique markings or errors from the minting process. Even a tiny scratch, or an unusual feature, can make a huge difference in value. And this is exactly why serious collectors hunt for coins like the South African half-penny from 1938. They are not just rare. They are full of personality and history. And here's the secret most people don't realize: coins can be an investment that is both tangible and meaningful. Unlike stocks or bonds, a coin sits in your hand, a piece of history you can touch, admire, and pass down. The South African half-penny, in particular, has been quietly rising in recognition among collectors worldwide because of its historical significance and limited numbers. You may ask, so, what's this coin worth today? Well, for those who held on, who preserved it, who understood its story, the payoff can be extraordinary. This isn't just about a few dollars here or there. A high-grade, well-preserved 1938 South African half-penny can reach astonishing numbers at auction. People who once thought of it as just another coin in their collection are now seeing the reward of decades of preservation and patience. Now, I promised you would reveal the value at the end, so here it is. A South African half-penny from 1938, in excellent condition, can be worth up to $9,000. That's right. $9,000 for a single coin that many might have overlooked, tossed in a drawer, or forgotten in a collection. And that's not a fantasy. These are real numbers from serious collectors who recognize the rarity, the condition, and the historical significance of this coin. So, if you've ever wondered whether the coins you've been holding onto have hidden value, this is a prime example of why it pays to take a closer look. It's not just about money, it's about discovering a piece of the past, preserving it, and maybe even turning a passion into something unexpectedly rewarding. If you enjoyed this dive into history, craftsmanship, and treasure, don't forget to subscribe. There are countless coins and artifacts out there, each with a story, each with potential value, waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. You might already own a hidden gem without even realizing it. So the next time you come across an old coin, don't just pass it by. Think about the stories it carries, the hands it has passed through, and the potential value it holds. History isn't just something we read about, it's something we can hold, something that can surprise us, and sometimes, something that can change lives. And remember, that South African halfpenny from 1938. One well-preserved example could be worth up to $9,000 today. So keep looking, keep collecting, and most importantly, keep cherishing the stories behind every coin. Because sometimes, the past has a way of rewarding those who pay attention. Before we dive into a fascinating story about a coin that's captured the hearts and wallets of collectors worldwide, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a treasure from the past that could change your future. Trust me, you won't want to miss what we have coming up today. Now, let me take you back to the year 1945. The world was just beginning to heal from the scars of war. Nations were rebuilding, economies were fragile, and every coin in circulation had a story to tell. Among these, in South Africa, a small yet remarkable coin quietly passed through countless hands, leaving behind a legacy far greater than its modest face value. We are talking about the South African halfpenny from 1945. On the surface, it might look like any ordinary coin, small, coppery, and unassuming. But as any seasoned collector will tell you, appearances can be deceiving. Think about it. This coin was minted during a time when South Africa was under significant political and economic change. The world was shifting, and coins like this one weren't just currency, they were artifacts of history. Every scratch, every patina, every tiny detail tells a story about the hands it passed through, the pockets it jingled in, and the history it silently witnessed. Collectors, especially those who have been in the game for decades, know that coins like this aren't just about monetary value. They are about the thrill of discovery, the satisfaction of holding a piece of history that very few people in the world can claim to possess. It's the kind of excitement that doesn't come from flashy new investments, but from something authentic, tangible, and incredibly rare. And this 1945 South African halfpenny fits that description perfectly. Let's talk specifics without getting too technical, because I know many of you appreciate the story behind the numbers. This coin was struck in Pretoria, featuring the reigning monarch at the time. Its design is simple yet elegant, reflecting a moment in history when South Africa was defining its identity on the world stage. Over time, surviving coins like this one became scarce. Some were lost, others melted down, and many were simply worn out from decades of circulation. That scarcity is what drives collectors wild. The thrill of finding one in exceptional condition can be life-changing. Now, here's the part that makes this coin truly special. Beyond its age and rarity, there's a secret that only those with an eye for detail notice. Small imperfections, variations in the minting process, and subtle design changes all contribute to its value. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance could, in fact, be worth exponentially more than its peers if it carries the right characteristics. And for our 1945 halfpenny, these nuances make it a standout. Imagine this: you're at a coin show, or maybe you stumble upon it in an old drawer passed down from your grandfather. You pick it up, examine it under a magnifying glass, and realize you're holding a piece of history that has survived over 75 years. That excitement, that moment of awe, is priceless. But it's not just about the emotional thrill. This coin carries real financial weight. Over the years, numismatists and collectors have tracked its journey. They've documented sales, auction results, and private transactions, and one fact keeps emerging: the 1945 South African halfpenny is no ordinary coin. In pristine condition, untouched by time, its value skyrockets. It's a coin that bridges the gap between history and investment, a rare gem that appeals to both seasoned collectors and those who recognize the allure of tangible wealth. Let's consider why men in our age bracket, 55 to 65 plus, find coins like this so compelling. Many of us grew up in a time when saving wasn't just a habit, it was a necessity. We understand the concept of value over time. We recognize that something small today can turn into something extraordinary tomorrow. And this coin embodies that principle. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but its story, its rarity, and its potential make it a silent powerhouse. As you hold it, you're not just holding copper, you're holding decades of history, a story of a nation, and a piece of heritage that could have once been in the pocket of a soldier returning from war, or a shopkeeper counting pennies at the end of a long day. That tangible connection to the past is something money can't buy. Well, except when you finally decide to sell it, and then, suddenly, it does become money, but money with a story attached. So, what does all this mean for someone who might have one tucked away in a drawer, or a relative's collection that's been gathering dust? It means potential. It means you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. It means that a coin that cost a mere fraction of a cent in 1945 could now command attention and admiration from collectors around the world. Here's a thought to keep in mind: numismatics, the study and collection of coins, isn't just about the pursuit of money. It's about understanding history, valuing craftsmanship, and celebrating stories that would otherwise be forgotten. And for those of us who appreciate both history and smart investment, a coin like the 1945 South African halfpenny offers the perfect intersection. It's small in size, but massive in significance. Collectors today are not just looking for coins, they are looking for stories, for pieces of history they can hold in their hands. And this coin delivers on every front. It represents a world that has changed dramatically, a piece of a nation's journey, and the meticulous craft of minting that we sometimes take for granted. Holding it is like holding a time capsule. Now, I want you to imagine walking into a room, placing this coin on a display, and watching people marvel at it. Not just for its age, but for the incredible rarity it represents. The halfpenny might seem like a small, humble piece of metal, but in the world of collectors, size doesn't matter, rarity does. And the 1945 South African halfpenny is as rare as they come. To bring it all together, this coin is more than a collector's item. It's a story, a piece of history, a tangible connection to the past, and a remarkable potential investment all wrapped into one. And for those who have the foresight to recognize its value, it's a gateway into the fascinating world of numismatics, where each coin tells a story, and every story has the potential to transform a simple piece of metal into something extraordinary. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. That humble, unassuming halfpenny from South Africa, minted in 1945, can reach a staggering value of up to $36,000 for collectors lucky enough to find it in pristine condition. Yes, a coin that once was worth less than a fraction of a cent has become a rare gem worth tens of thousands today. So, whether you're a seasoned collector, someone who appreciates history, or simply someone who enjoys the thrill of discovery, keep your eyes open. That coin in your drawer, that inheritance tucked away, might just be worth more than you ever imagined. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You never know when the next hidden treasure could change your life.